Whatever you want, whatever you need, anything you want done, baby, I'll do it. But don't ask me to pick just one thing to do, because that ain't happening. Hey, this is Lisa Robbin Young, and welcome to Creative Freedom. This is your dose of inspiration and education to help you build a noble empire and live an inspired life without selling your soul. A new subscriber sent me an email expressing a problem that I hear about pretty regularly. She wrote, "What if you don't know what your great work is? Being a free spirit and deeply connected to energies has made me a jack of all trades, and I'm pretty good at them all. I've thought about starting many businesses in my brain, but the thing that's holding me back is finances." Well, I would guess it's not just finances that are holding you back. And oh, how I know this pain so very well. Because if you looked at my job history, you'd think I was one of the flakiest people in the world. I was a data processor, a legal secretary, a graphic designer, an office administrator, a financial advisor, a home maintenance tech. I worked at a hardware store. I helped launch a new company. And those were just my jobs. As an entrepreneur, I built one of the first ever e-commerce websites. I had a mail order catalog that went with that site. I owned and operated a candle making company. I was a direct seller. I eventually started coaching direct sellers, and that led me into coaching entrepreneurs and finally coaching creative entrepreneurs like you. And I only say finally because that's where I'm at now. Who knows where I'm going to be in another 10 years? And oh, by the way, along the way, I've written a couple of books, recorded a couple of albums, done a lot of performing, became a Reiki master. So yeah, I think I can relate. I've heard it called many things over the years. Scatterbrained, multi-passionate, multi-potentialite. Barbara Sher wrote a book called Refuse to Choose, and she called them scanners. People who refuse to stick to one thing and may or may not even go deep into any particular area. But what I found was that didn't seem to apply to me. And maybe that's the same thing for you. See, I go deep in a given area because I have a learning addiction, for one. So it's important for me to learn a lot about whatever it is that I'm learning about. But I'm also interested in a wide variety of things, and they don't even always seem to relate to one another. Take, for example, my passion for music and my passion for business coaching. Most people can't figure out how those two things go together, how they overlap, right? I was one of those people. I worked with coach after coach after coach who said, pick one thing, pick one, focus on one, hone in on one, get good at one. And every time I did, I felt like I was pigeonholing myself. And then my theater friends didn't understand my passion for business. My business colleagues thought that the music stuff and the performing stuff was fun and cute. And when I get in my group of friends, in one group I was the smart one, and in the other group I was the creative one, and it was just like, Calgon, take me away. Why can't anybody see me for me, the whole me, and nothing but me, just me as me? And it was frustrating, and I felt like I needed a song, kind of like that Whitney Houston song, to let them know that I had everything they needed. Now, if you can relate, I've got exciting news for you, because I suspect you're probably what I call a fusion creative. I believe that everyone is creative in their own way, and I've been researching on and off for nearly a decade how this plays out for entrepreneurs. It's led me to identify an entire spectrum that ranges from purely chaotic to purely linear. Now, most of us fall somewhere along the spectrum, but fusions like us live right in the middle. We actually enjoy the chaotic and the linear fairly equally, and forcing us to choose one path is tantamount to asking us which one of our kids gets to live. The creative freedom spectrum reveals our preference, not our aptitude. It identifies how you best approach not only your creative process, but handling the entrepreneurial side of things as well. Now, if you're a linear, chances are good you've got the financial side of things on lock. But making personal connections or dealing with customer relations might be a challenge for you. On the other hand, if you're a chaotic type, you may have ingenious bursts of creativity, but have a really hard time developing a predictable work schedule that keeps your business making money without draining your energy. When you know where you fall on the creative freedom spectrum, you've got a much better chance of seeing success more easily because You can do more of what's in your genius zone and less of what's draining you so that you can make a real living doing what you love and have time to enjoy it. So aptitude versus preference, what's that about? Well, you can get really good at something through years of practice, but that doesn't mean it's what you should be doing or even something that really brings out the best in you. For example, one woman that I interviewed for my research told me how she had spent years developing systems for the corporation that she worked for, but her lifelong dream was to be a dancer. She grew up in a teeny tiny little village where there was no access to anything like dance training. So as a means of survival, she picked up languages and she joined a company that gave her the ability to get out of that little village and go see the world. Now, over the years, she got very good at her job, developing and implementing systems, processes, and steps for her company. She was world-class at it. But that linear type of work was actually sapping her energy, leaving her drained and completely exhausted at the end of the day because every ounce of her energy was going into getting her linear type work done. It just takes more energy. So much for those dance lessons. By the time class rolled around in the evening, the last thing she wanted was to learn more steps, more processes, more routines. Now, eventually, she found a partner class instead where she could just lean into her partner, follow his moves, and go with the flow. And that worked really well for her, and she's becoming a great dancer. This is an example of how a chaotic has to try and make it using a linear approach. And it happens a lot, particularly because we buy into that starving artist myth that says we can't own our dreams, we can't make a living doing what we love, or that we'll have to sell our souls in order to be able to do so. But it's not just limited to chaotics. Linear creatives can get so focused on the bottom line, so focused on results, that they forget that people don't relate to numbers and metrics. People relate to people. And fusion types? We live in the middle and we're so busy comparing ourselves to all the awesomeness around us that we get stuck in perfectionism or comparisonitis, and we stop sharing our awesomeness with the world because we're afraid that it's just not going to measure up. That's why the creative freedom movement is so important to me. It's about giving you the tools, the tips, the inspiration to own your dreams and not have to sell your soul to do it. So it is with great excitement that I share with you a sneak peek into this research. I've developed a short, fun quiz that helps you identify your creative freedom entrepreneur type. It shows you the common blind spots and success factors for your type, and it helps you clear the roadblocks on your success journey. We've already had dozens of people take the quiz during our beta test phase, and we've been amazed and so thrilled at the results. Even if you think you're not creative or not an entrepreneur, I bet that you are. In this social era, it is almost impossible to not be. Whether you choose to make it your sole source of income, though, that's another thing altogether. So if you're sitting there thinking about what's my passion, and you think you might be a fusion type, or you're chaotic stuck in a linear world, or a linear that wants to see better results in your creative endeavor, then come on and check out the quiz and discover for yourself a better way to be a creative entrepreneur. Plus, there's a chance for your story to be featured in my book when it launches later this year. And you can learn all about that and visit my website and take the quiz and get all the juicy details there. So now, let me hear from you. Have you struggled as a jack of all trades? How have you combined your passions into a meaningful body of work? Have you taken the quiz? What's your creative freedom type if you have? Share your thoughts, your ideas, and your type in the comments, and let's be a rising tide for everyone. If you like this video and you want to be the first to see more just like it, then subscribe to my channel. What are you waiting for? Then share me around with your friends because we're here to help you be all that you can be. And there's always more where this came from. For inspiring songs, stories, and resources to help you build a noble empire and live an inspired life without selling your soul, come on, see what's shaking over at LisaRobbinYoung.com. You know you want to.